Back, everybody, to IeSF 2014 Day 3. We're about to get into our second semifinal of the day to find out who is going to be joining Tunisia in the finals for the $10,000 championship.
That's right. We're going to have Austria going up against Denmark. And this match, I think, is going to be pretty good. Let's go ahead and jump into the classes and kind of show why we think this. We have from Denmark, Herudra. He's going to be playing Warrior, Druid, Warlock, Priest, and Hunter with the Hunter band.
Okay.
And Yhone is, of course, our Austrian player, and he's going to be playing Warrior, Druid, Warlock, Rogue with Hunter band.
You know what? I think that the previous series may have left a lasting impression. You know, it's like watching a game trailer, which leaves quite the mark on your memory. If you just have like a Hunter fresh burn in your mind on like you just saw it 3-0 sweep, you know, all of a sudden maybe you're feeling less comfortable because it feels like Warlock is one of those classes where everyone's bringing it and everyone's banning it, so you haven't seen people play it yet. But when they do, sometimes maybe that's not even their strongest class.
Yeah. Well, the Hunters are banned, and you know, taking a look at the other decks that are left, I feel like Yhone has a pretty significant advantage because he has Rogue, and then Herudra has Priest, and I feel like Priest might be the throwaway class for him.
It could be because I believe Yhone's playing Handlock, correct? And then we saw Herudra. Yesterday he was playing Zoo. So this is already a difference in the two classes between these guys, even though we see 3 out of the 4 are the same class.
Yeah, I'm really looking towards Yhone to be able to take this one down.
Okay.
What would you call for the starting decks here?
Ooh, okay. So if you know your opponent's playing Handlock and you don't have Hunter available to kind of start things off, I still think Druid's pretty decent here for Herudra. For Yhone, I want to see Rogue, I think.
You want to see him open Rogue? Okay.
I want to see Rogue. I think Rogue is really strong against this lineup in general.
Yeah.
I think you're okay with Rogue against pretty much anything. You know what? Honestly, if he has Handlock, Handlock is also great, too.
Yeah, I do agree with you on this. In fact, the more I look at it, the Rogue, it just looks like a solid deck against this lineup and probably not a counter pick because Priest should be the throwaway. And it looks like he is going to start with the Rogue, but we actually have Herudra starting off with his Zoo deck. And, Arcane Golem.
You know what? The Zoo could be a choice to catch Druid off guard and complete sweep because Druid is a deck that is very safe against most things. In fact, it's very rare to see Druid have poor matchups. Zoo is one of them.
That is a fact. Kind of interesting to see the Arcane Golem, maybe a kind of Strife Crow-inspired Zoo deck that we're looking at here.
Or maybe Strife Crow got the idea from Herudra. You never know. Strife Crow
This
does craft most of his deck based off his ladder experiences. So if he ran into somebody who either was collaborating with him or similar, you never know if Strife Crow got the idea from somebody else.
Yeah.
Gadget Stand Auctioneer against Zoo, I think, is actually a very nice keep. I actually would be
throwing him away when you have the coin.
I'd be
against
excited
Zoo.
to keep him.
Yeah, I would too. I'm kind of surprised, but we've actually seen a few mulligans from Yhone that we've kind of questioned. So he definitely has his own ideas about what he wants to keep and how he wants to play the match.
No, there's no way that he didn't see yesterday's games. He knows that the Herudra's playing Zoo.
Yeah,
right?
he definitely should.
But even if you're playing Zoo, you need that Gadget Stand. That's actually really critical.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would mulligan that away against almost nothing with the coin.
Yhone tosses out 5 emotes and spams them, and then he always mutes his opponent because then they don't get the chance to emote back.
Yeah, that's a very clever play there. But
it is. It's just like, it's the guy that just keeps throwing pebbles at you, but then just hides behind the corner around. Just doesn't want any bad business.
What a coward.
He is.
I'm feeling kind of bad right now for Herudra. This is such a weak turn, too.
Yeah. It's something that Rogue's even okay I was going to say just weaponing up and passing, but Shaded Naxxramas is not a bad card to pick up at the moment.
No, certainly not. In fact, I would definitely consider coining this out right now because it's going to deal with the Voidwalker. There's no chance to get rid of it. So seems like a strong play, but it does make it harder to combo this SI7 agent. It
guarantees 2-for-1s, though. And that's something that that slot is really important for. SI7 agent has 2-for-1, maybe even 3-for-1. We've seen similar 3-drop replacements. Like in other decks, Shade of Naxxramas replaces the Harvest Golem because Harvest Golem can often 2-for-1 as well. So I think having that function here, using the coin to push out Shade of Naxxramas, I like it a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely seems like his strongest play here. He's, of course, just kind of like considering everything, but I think the only other even possible play is making your weapon, and I think it's just so much weaker that he shouldn't really be considering it even for this long. Better to take the whole turn, though, than to make some of the mistakes that we've seen here today.
We've already seen a couple examples of perhaps speedy play ends up being a nail in the coffin, in fact.
Yeah.
Harvest Golem here is pretty strong, too. Usually against Miracle Rogue, the only way they can efficiently remove it is through Deadly Poison and Shiv on a weapon. But he doesn't have the weapon up. So I think this is starting to look a little bit better because Herudra has some pretty decent cards to follow this up.
Yeah, he certainly does. He has some of the beefiest minions in his deck, so going to take a few more cards to actually get rid of them. And, well, nothing like too sickly exciting.
Sums up my feelings
exactly.
Yeah,
it's like, well, there's almost some really cool stuff he can do, but not quite.
What do you think about holding onto the Shade one more turn?
And waiting for 4/4?
Is there any merit to it?
Oh, man, there's so many minions that boost attack. I think it's not terrible because it's only 1 damage represented by this 1/3. But if you're doing that, what is your play this turn then?
Well, just the weapon up.
Yeah.
You obviously want to save Fan of Knives.
Yeah. Like, there's some really cool plays he can do kind of coming up, especially if he has a dagger.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to prep Fan and then draw Van Cleef and play Van Cleef.
That would be a fantastic play, wouldn't it? Oh, not quite.
No, not quite. But he can play cleanup here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think passing here is actually completely fine.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Like, if he attacks with this, I'd rather have the Shade live into a 4/4. You know, he's going to get traded immediately if you run into this 1/2.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like the play. I don't think there's anything wrong at all with how he played that.
And then because you saw this play, Dark Iron Dwarf becomes a much stronger play. If your board was still intact, I think Defender of Argus would have been really nasty.
Yeah.
But you can't really argue with putting out as much power as you want as a Zoo player.
Absolutely. Fills up your curve and all. So would you like to see the Dark Iron Dwarf used to take out this 3/3?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You want to minimize as much value as Rogue can pick off. Because what happens is Miracle Rogue without the Gadget and Auctioneer has a very finite amount of resources in the early game, while the Warlock is often not taking damage and can use Life Tap to get so far ahead.
Yeah.
The debate does become what you want to use the Dark Iron Dwarf buff on. Do you want to trade away the 2/1, which can easily get shivved, or would you rather keep the Taunt, which has weaker power?
I like what he did there. Unfortunately for him, Blood Mage Thanos does get picked up, so this is actually works perfectly.
This is great.
For Yhone anyways, but still I think the better play because I'd rather him play the Blood Mage than be able to dagger up and use the Blood Mage later.
I wonder if Yhone's thinking about not even attacking with Shade once again. Like you just Blood Mage, you just Blood Mage Shiv, and then not attack, and then eventually you just continue to have Shade build up to the point where it's 2 for 1.
Yeah, I mean I like what you're saying here, and at 28 health, I think he actually can afford to do this right now. So, very good call there, Frodan. I think that's the right play.
Ooh, and you know what? Now that you have Vile Teacher and Conceal, next turn you attack and trade with your Shade. And then play Vile Teacher and then Conceal.
That's too bad. I would have liked to see that play a lot, though. I think you were right on the right track.
It's cute for sure, but I like it.
Well, no sick mana plays this turn, but definitely can develop this board a bit at least. It kind of sucks that Thalnos is out there because it makes things like Fan of Knives, like Blade Fury, like Shiv so powerful. It makes his Flame Imp feel like a kind of a weak play.
I like to see Herudra tap here because I think, again, like we said, Miracle Rogue is going to be running on a finite amount of resources. Yeah. And committing Flame Imp Defender of Argus to the board is asking for a way for Rogue to deal with it pretty easily and be able to draw a card into a trade. Harvest Golem is sticky. It also allows you to tap and weave in. And if you pick up a 1-drop, the following turn you have Flame Imp, like Undertaker, and then Defender of Argus. So doesn't matter that he didn't draw it this turn, but hey, look, he even drew Lothar, which is good against Auctioneer.
Absolutely. I think it's quite well played here. So very cool to see, actually. These guys are playing extremely well right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, Violet Teacher Conceal is the play.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what Violet Teacher's in for. It's another use for Conceal, where traditionally it's only Gadget Stand and Van Cleef, or all in on a like an SI7 agent.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. But I do like how Yhone is taking his time. He's really thinking about it before he makes any of these moves.
It's not so bad, too. Conceal for 1 mana protects your entire board and summons a 1/1.
Yeah. No, it's a fantastic play. He's going to be able to remove anything next turn. Look at his hand as well. It just, everything works out so well.
But then here, okay, so 2 plays available now. Before we're talking about picking up that 1-drop is great for the defender because now you can put up a big board. But you do see Thalnos, and you know your opponent concealed with a couple of cards in hand. Do you feel like Lotheb is slightly better because you can stop your opponent from going off with Violet Teacher to build up his own board?
You know, that is an issue. So I really don't mind if he goes Lotheb here, even though that defender play looks so juicy. Thing is, he's going to have something left over next turn. So the defender play next turn is still extremely strong as well.
Okay. And then we're using Lotheb as the anchor here, not the defender of Argus for the buffs?
You mean the Harvest Golem?
Oh, sorry. Did I say defender of Argus?
Yeah.
Sorry,
like,
I meant
well,
the Harvest Golem.
You know, to be honest, I would rather have that Harvest Golem in the center. Like, Lotheb just has so much health on him. I guess you look at him and say, well, he'll be great.
Yeah.
But the Harvest Golem just, I don't know, he's one of my favorite things as a defender of Argus. He's just the perfect stats. He's just the perfect amount of value that you're like, well, this is just amazing with that buff.
Well, I think you have to trade in the Thalnos with the – first you're going to kill off the first body of the Harvest Golem, and then you see what you draw off Thalnos.
Yeah.
And then you reevaluate. You might even get like a Farseer, heal up your Violet Teacher, and then you can kill off the Flame Imp and then just cut your losses. There's no point in trying to rush for anything here.
He gets Eviscerate. That's not going to help him this turn. The only thing he can cast is Cold Blood. And it wouldn't even combo, so it's like really weak.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, the order of this, he actually takes 1 less damage, so Yhone actually seeks out a better play. So well done.
Yeah, it's a solid turn.
That's why he doesn't listen to me.
Well, the next turn he can have a powerful one as well. It's too bad he doesn't have that Auctioneer, by the way, though, because he could have some pretty sick turns.
Yeah, definitely, especially next turn.
Okay, so Frodan, how important do you think it is to kill this Violet Teacher this turn?
It's so crucial. It's very clear that he's running low on resources and that he's getting desperate for things. Auctioneer would be the only outside of this Violet Teacher for him to run away with this game. So I think if you shut down this Violet Teacher, he's really just going to be using resource to remove, and you're going to be in a good spot.
Yeah. Well, I think he is going to run the Lotheb into it. Probably drop Undertaker and Argus. Just kind of make your board strong right now. And you have, like, all of this just damage out of nowhere. You have 8 damage out of nowhere in your hand for 5 mana right now.
How do you follow this up, though? Lotheb's going to be killing it off. Is it time to Arcane Golem? Just because it fits the mana curve that much better? You do 8 damage right back to your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with the Arcane Golem being the cleanup that much. But the only thing is I hate playing Arcane Golem against Miracle.
Yeah.
Because, like, their mana is so crucial. The thing is, he can probably look at this and be like, okay, you don't have gadgets on. So if you don't have it, then the mana is not nearly as important.
Well, you know, Herudra played around Betrayal. Well played.
Yes. We see Betrayal just all over the place right now in Roadhouse. It is, I mean, if you're not thinking about the Defender of Argus as much, then it's actually very important to play around everything that could go wrong.
Absolutely. Well, how much damage do you have, by the way? You have Deadly Poison, that's 6, plus Eviscerate, that's 10. Is there any merit to start going aggressive, or do you have to clear?
Well, I would definitely clear it at 17 health.
Well, I mean, he's thinking about attacking face and Blade Flurrying.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine if that Cold Blood was an Auctioneer instead, because remember, that's what he got in exchange for the Auctioneer. Like, it's one of the cards.
I think he would have run away with this game by now. He would just be in a great spot, especially this turn if he had held it.
Wow.
Like, yeah, he's going to remove it. This is not at all surprising. And I think he does have to kill the Lotheb as well. Just keep that damage off the board. But he's literally just waiting for Auctioneer now. That he has to draw Auctioneer.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, Herudra can start dumping his hand and pave the way for Doomguard.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty strong turn overall. Has a couple taunts up there as well.
Because he just used Blade Flurry. He already used a Fan of Knives. Okay.
Oh, wow. All right, here we go.
Still, though, it's very easily can just whiff.
Yes.
He needs, and he already used what? A Shiv and a Fan of Knives? Like,
yes,
he
did.
needs to have cards that draw other cards very aggressively.
Yeah, like if he preps into a Shiv, that's going to be pretty ultimate. Or a
he
Fan,
might
of
get
course.
like backstab too.
Oh, that's really great.
Man.
That's fantastic.
That is excellent. Do you Cold Blood at all? Oh, you already used Lotheb. So you don't actually need to.
I would do it, just grab a card.
Ooh, Sap.
Yeah, Sap is actually, I think you
Sap the Haunted Creeper?
You could Sap the Haunted Creeper, absolutely.
I think so.
It's less damage. Getting rid of that buff is pretty nice.
Well, you're using your mana that turn.
Yeah.
There's a very realistic chance you might need to drop Auctioneer number 2 and then eviscerate something next turn. To just draw 2 cards and then start getting bodies on the board.
Well, look, it's only 13 health. He has an 8 attacker on the board. Like, there's definitely the chance he just kills him next turn.
Sap number 2.
Yeah, if he draws a Sap, then he's, like, very little damage away. He's 1 damage away from winning.
Well, Herudra most likely has to tap, too.
Yeah. Oh, God, and that's... We're getting super close to lethal here.
So, like, backstab or any way to kill this abusive sergeant is the game.
Would you play the other Auctioneer? I think I would. I think if he draws a dud, Auctioneer eviscerate.
That is crazy. You have 2 chances to draw into lethal right there.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, you look at this board, you might very well die the next turn. And in fact, I think I Soulfire to face right now for sure.
I think it's come down to a race.
The game is ending in the next turn for 1 player.
That's right. It's come down to a race, and I mean it's lap 3. You're on Rainbow Road. You know you gotta take some risks. You gotta jump. You gotta jump off that ramp on the early. You know, when Mario Kart 64 had to make that shortcut jump, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a hard jump to make, but you have to be brave. You have to go for it because you can't rely on drawing into a blue shell.
No, not when you're at least in the lead at the moment, or even second place.
What is it?
Deadly Poison is good,
that is enough.
And that should be able to end the game right here. And Yhone, well, if I know him, he might actually add some flair to the ending here. Yeah, so you Gadget Sand and you eviscerate the face.
All right, that is going to be that. A strong opening win here for this Miracle deck. That was a pretty miraculous draw into the Gadgetzan that he had thrown away before.
If he drew a minion instead, he would have had to go for a pretty risky coin flip, and Yhone will jump out to a 1-0 lead here.
Yeah,